Pawn family, welcome to the Midwest Pawnbrokers Conference. And with me for the first Facebook Live, we have Greg Engstrom, who is the organizer of the event. Thank you so much for being here, and thank you for having me here.
Oh, thanks for coming. And actually, thanks to the other couple hundred pawnbrokers here. It's a full house right now. Of course, it's chow time, so all the tables are full. And it's been great weather here in Louisville. It's a great place to come and walk around. I've been here a few days ahead of time, and it's just wonderful. This is terrific. No rain even.
It's incredible. I think it's going to be 90 degrees today.
Is it really?
Yeah.
Well, it's
awesome.
72 in here.
Nice. Yeah, it's like 68.
Oh, it's 68. Well, I'm wearing a jacket, so.
I'm a little chilly, but that's good. So we were talking at the table. We were having lunch together. You've got 22 or 23 states?
23 states, and we got some foreigners from the great country of Canada.
Nice.
I don't think we have anybody from anywhere else, as far as I know. But
So 23 states represented at this conference, which I think is such a great mix of people. That way we can share ideas, talk about what's happening in all different cities and states in the country.
So, I've been to a lot of other pawn conventions. This is the 28th year for the Midwest Convention. And I tell you that what most people miss that don't come, it's kind of a misnomer because people are like, well, I don't really need to sell my Melly, or I don't need to find another insurance company or find a printer or all those sort of things. But what they really miss is what goes on right now, right here when we were having lunch, talking to other pawnbrokers. Pawnbrokers all have this same very strong bond, not like anybody else, because in your local community, if you hang out with other business people, they don't understand what we do.
Yeah,
they don't get it. They don't get the regulations. They don't get the negative image from our friends in Hollywood and things like that. So when you come and you break bread with other pawnbrokers, and we all have the same sort of problems. And what is the best part is you're having lunch with someone and you have a particular issue that's been a problem for you, and they've already been there and they found a solution.
I agree. And they say that 33% of entrepreneurs have some type of depression. And I think that just coming out to these types of events, talking with people so that you're not in business by yourself, but you make friends.
Yeah.
Coming to these events myself, I make friends that we're on Facebook and we talk and we chat. And that way you can ask questions. How are you doing things? How are you keeping your costs down? Or as Martin Strasser, who gave an epic speech in the other room, talked about how do you keep your yield up and how do you break it down. And it was really, really incredible to see pawnbrokers having a conversation afterward, asking, well, what's your yield? How does that work? Because they're not competitors.
Right. And one of the things that we do, a lot of our speakers are pawnbrokers, but they have a niche. They have something that they are very good at. And we pull that out, and we have those presentations. Martin Strasser will tell you, I'm not a numbers guy, I'm not an accountant, but he is a total numbers nerd, totally. I mean, the charts he put up there of a low-performing store, an average store, and an epic store, he had it to the 1/10%. Now, that's a numbers nerd.
And then he compared it with the public companies, and with, I was in there, I wasn't even taking video. I was like, I'm going to watch and learn from this gentleman because it was incredible. And then we had Beth and Undy and Adam, who gave a talk about how to make money on purses.
Yeah, and they're just like the rest of us. They knew nothing about purses. What I didn't know is when they started out, or I shouldn't say they started out, before they got into purses, they were 40% guns, which meant that their business was probably 80% guys, no women. And they have jewelry, and you need women for that. And until they got into the purses and realized, hey, there's a whole market segment that they were not touching.
Yeah.
So it's huge. And they started like everybody else. They brought in some of the counterfeits they bought. We all have those.
Yeah. And so already this morning, there's been multiple speakers. We had Cindy from Synaptic, who talked about PR and marketing.
Yeah.
There was somebody from the ATF here.
Yes,
talking
first
about
thing. Yep, 8 o'clock.
8 o'clock in the morning, ATF rules and regulations. I think it's super important. But and we still have the whole day to go.
Yeah. So yeah. And one of the things I mentioned briefly in Cindy's class, and I this is kind of a story out of school, but a true story. Many years ago in the 1990s, one of my store managers called and said, "Hey, Channel 7, ABC or NBC, ABC News out of Chicago was at my store with one of the big trucks with the satellite dish and everything and wanted to interview the owner. And I had no idea why they were there, none. And so I did a little background checking, and our company had been sued by a local municipality.
Oops.
It was a big trend at that time to get votes, is the bottom line. They were suing all the gun dealers and all the manufacturers, and ultimately those lawsuits have been outlawed. I think they went to the Supreme Court, and they're outlawed. But anyway, we're one of the first ones. I had no idea we were being sued, none. So at the time, Tom Horn was the executive director of the National. I called Tom at home, and I said, Tom, I got a problem. I've got a Channel 7 news truck from Chicago in front of one of my stores. I'm going to be there in 15 minutes. What do I do? Yeah. You know, and some of the things he taught me have just, because I was in crisis, total crisis. He said, you can't say no comment. Yeah. You can't do that. You also got to be careful. They, the news, they're all about sensationalizing. So if I said any little thing incorrectly, that would be the 4 seconds of fame. So anyway, he walked me through it on my drive. Well, Cindy is here, offering that sort of advice in advance along with, using it for marketing. So that's an awesome course. Of course, Cindy comes from a rather famous background as well.
Yeah, she does. She knows what she's talking about.
Yeah.
She's been in the industry. And what's coming up in the afternoon? What's going on?
This afternoon, so the seminars and the lunch is open, and at 4 o'clock we have 2 really good seminars. One is Adam Harris. Now, Adam Harris, you may have seen on the forums or whatever, he is a Rolex, and he doesn't want to be called expert, but he is a Rolex connoisseur. So as a Rolex connoisseur, of course, he's into Audemars and Cartier and Piaget and all these other brands. And he asked to speak, or I asked him to speak, I should say. And I said, the seminar's an hour. He says, I don't know if I can, what can I say in an hour? How to check a serial number? So anyway, I said, you know what we're going to do? We're going to put you in an hour. You can over. So his seminar will be the last one of today. And if he wants to run till midnight,
he can go.
And then Jerry Whitehead is doing a seminar on maxing profit out, and his seminars, there's a lot of questions, and they always go long. So both of those are going to be great seminars before dinner. Of course, awesome. Our dinner is like world famous. We have a lot of fun at our dinner.
Amazing. And so I know that Adam Harris, he was on the 75th episode of the podcast. Huh? I call him like the watch ninja, the watch guru. He doesn't like to be called an expert.
Right.
But when you know so much about watches, and you can teach somebody in 3 days how to tell a fake and to never take in a fake, that's his guarantee. You're a ninja to me. Like you're that good.
So I took that course.
Okay.
I took that course.
Okay.
And I got a book. It's about this thick, and it's loaded with notes as we went along. It's a terrific book. Anyway, he did say that. He says, you're not going to take another fake. And he would tell you things, and I can't even say that I repeat them, but I think in an Audemars has a very certain type of screw. That's all you have to do is look for that screw. If the screw is not there, the watch is fake, period. You're done. You don't have to open it up. You don't have to wind it. And simple things like Rolexes, when you open it, when you turn the hand or the dial clockwise, the hand should turn clockwise.
Yeah.
And then there's that except,
Always.
But it's awesome. His class, I'll tell you what, he crammed a lot in 3 days. I'm personally thinking about taking it again so that it could sink in a little deeper, because when we had our quiz, we looked at 28 watches at the end of the day. I forgot that Cartiers have a black I'm not even sure it's Cartier, black silicone.
One of the watches.
All you had to do was, and he had a card with each watch, name the 2 reasons this watch is either genuine or fake.
Oh, wow.
And I find 10, and I'm like, I'm missing. And I did. I missed the silicone balance staff.
Wow. Okay. So that's incredible. So you learned something new.
Oh, yeah.
How long have you been part of the organization, the Midwest Conference?
From day one. Day
one. 28 years strong, right?
Yeah.
And you are no longer the president?
No, I'm no longer the president. So Ron Stemkowski, who is the organizer and was executive director for the 28 years, was ill last year and unfortunately passed away suddenly. And so I've always been involved, but I was never involved to the degree. I didn't deal with all the minutia. And so anyway, if I can make it out of this weekend without a handful of Xanax, it'll be good.
Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, check out the Midwest Conference. I believe as a pawnbroker, going to different conferences is really important because you learn something new, you meet new people, and you just kind of get out of your comfort zone.
Yes, yeah. Yeah, it's amazing what's out there. And even looking at some of the vendors, there are vendors here that were never in the pawn business, never had any interest in the pawn business. I won't mention any names. One of them is a very large company. And when they called to get a booth and said, we're entering the pawn business, I was totally surprised.
Yeah.
Totally. Things are changing.
Yeah, I agree. Well, Greg, thank you so much for being on.
Yep.
Let me see if there's anybody on. If you're watching, if you want to ask Greg a question, let me know. Seth Ward is on watching. He says the Colonel, they call you. Joey Les is on. Pawn Bat's on. We've got some guys who are actually at the show are watching this live. So it's they're bored. They're bored in their booth at the moment because everyone's having lunch.
Everybody's out here talking with networking.
Exactly. Networking. Guys, I'll be going live all day long.
Awesome.
If you've got some great pawnbrokers you want me to interview, bring them on. And check it out.
I'm looking at one right now.
But I got to get him on. He's got to come on. He doesn't want to come on. We'll get him on at some point.
We're gonna. He's an excellent speaker. Excellent. Yeah. He might be a little shy, but tell him it's not live. Just don't tell him.
Just tell him it's not live.
I'll be recording this. You're just going to take a couple snippets.
I'll tweak it.
But I'm sure. And there's a few others, but I've got my eyeball on at least one. We'll get some others over here.
For sure.
Yeah.
Awesome. Greg, thank you so much. Have an incredible day.
Thank you.
Keep it up.
Hey, thanks for everybody for tuning in. And those of you that are here and those of you that want to come, we'll be back here next May.
Yeah. And what's the website?
MidwestPawnConvention.com.
Yeah. Check it out. It's really a great show. I've been here. I was here 2 years ago. I spoke. I wasn't here last year because my wife was pregnant.
Yeah.
But I'll be here.
Congratulations, by the way.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Thank you. I'll be here next year as well. It's incredible. So,
All right.
Awesome. Take care.
All right. Thanks.